No one talks about how embarrassing it is to admit when you can't afford something. This weekend is actually my sister-in-law and future brother-in-law's bachelor and bachelorette parties, and my husband and I are skipping out because we couldn't afford it. Their wedding is in July, and we are going out of town to be in their wedding, and we're really excited. We're in the wedding party, and obviously we're invited to the bachelorette and bachelor parties, and initially we did commit to it, and we paid for Airbnb stays, but we never booked like flights or anything like that. A couple months later, we decided against it because it was gonna be lots of money for us to either fly our kids to Arizona so that my parents could watch them while we were both out of town, and between both of our flights, potentially flights for our kids, and just having spending money, like this would have been a few $1,000s that we just don't have. Granted, my husband and I do make decent money, so we could have budgeted it out and saved for it like we have been doing for the wedding and other like big life events we have coming up. But in the state that we're in, trying to pay off debt, it really just did not make sense to do these extra trips, especially considering that we also went to Disney and took our kids back in February. It sucks, and I have so much FOMO, but I am truly so excited for them, and I'm very excited to be a part of their wedding in July. I just think it's okay to admit sometimes when you can't afford something. We had to have that hard conversation after we initially committed and let them know that we actually aren't going to be able to, and it's tough, but it's okay. Everybody has different things going on in their lives. Everyone's situation is different, and it is okay to admit that you can't afford something, then put it on a credit card and think about it later. And you're listening to the queen of that. I feel like I just had to get that off my chest, so now I'm gonna go watch Twilight. Do you guys see these hua hua vibes?
On my G top. Damn, this is not good.
I'm all for the conversation that most Americans are in debt and the world's crashing, but the moment you tell me that you're in debt to a store, I have a problem with you. And I'm not one to judge the people because I'm always for the people. But there's no way you're in debt to TJ Maxx right now. You're telling me they got you off that 50% off at the register to get a credit card? They got you? You're that caught up in consumerism that they made you get a credit card right now? And this be the same people that are using credit cards to buy groceries, which is nothing wrong with that. But they have JCPenney credit card on the side. Like, what are you gonna buy with that? Pots and pans? Clothes? Nothing important. Anyways, rant for the day. See ya.
Whenever I remember that America, just the country itself, not just the citizens, is $36 trillion in debt. Hello? It's always just like, this is all so silly. America, a country, which is a concept that we made up as humans. Spend too much money, another concept that we made up, based on rocks that we found valuable. And then we said, the rocks don't matter anymore, we're just printing it. Logically, I know that you can't just print $36 trillion and be like, debt solved. Please don't explain economics to me. I know that we can't do that. Am I kind of like, why can't we do that? Yes, but I do know that on this earth, we all have enough resources to get rid of world hunger and make sure that everyone is housed, and we are choosing not to do that. Does that make sense to me? No. But when Lady Liberty has a worse credit score than me, I'm a millennial. My savings account is supposed to be avocado toast. Did America also get a theater degree in the middle of the Great Recession? Is America trying to plan a wedding during President Back to the Future villain's second term? How dare America try to give me financial advice when she is quite literally the friend that's just like, can I Venmo you later? Except if your I'll Venmo you later friend also just Venmo'd you back a little bit less than what she owed you and was just like, you're welcome, friendship tax, the honor of my presence. The audacity for the solution to take from us to fix your problem. You figure it out. Rob Jeff Bezos. Make a group chat of all the richest Americans and then send them a little GoFundMe link and be like, America. What you're not gonna do is send that GoFundMe link to the poorest people in the country's health insurance. Taking from the poor to give to the rich is such a cartoonishly evil concept that the pitch is really just like 3 billionaires in a trench coat. I hope they don't notice. Like, what? Anyway, it's time to get rid of money, get back to bartering. Vote for me, thank you. Whenever I remember that America, just the country itself, not just the citizens, is $36 trillion in debt. Hello? It's always just like, this is all so silly. America, a country, which is a concept that we made up as humans. Spend too much money, another concept that we made up, based on rocks that we found valuable. And then we said, the rocks don't matter anymore. We're just printing it. Logically, I know that you can't just print $36 trillion and be like, debt solved. Please don't explain economics to me. I know that we can't do that. Am I kind of like, why can't we do that? Yes, but I do know that on this earth, we all have enough resources to get rid of world hunger and make sure that everyone is housed, and we are choosing not to do that. Does that make sense to me? No. But when Lady Liberty has a worse credit score than me, I'm a millennial. My savings account is supposed to be avocado toast. Did America also get a theater degree in the middle of the Great Recession? Is America trying to plan a wedding during President Back to the Future villain's second term? How dare America try to give me financial advice when she is quite literally the friend that's just like, can I Venmo you later? Except if your I'll Venmo you later friend also just Venmoed you back a little bit less than what she owed you and was just like, you're welcome, friendship tax, the honor of my presence. The audacity for the solution to take from us to fix your problem. You figure it out. Rob Jeff Bezos. Make a group chat of all the richest Americans and then send them a little GoFundMe link and be like, America. What you're not going to do is send that GoFundMe link to the poorest people in the country's health insurance. Taking from the poor to give to the rich is such a cartoonishly evil concept that the pitch is really just like 3 billionaires in a trench coat. I hope they don't notice. Like, what? Anyway, it's time to get rid of money, get back to bartering. Vote for me, thank you.
I was all excited to file my taxes early so I could get my refund ASAP. So, today's the first day they're processing it. I'm filing my taxes. I'm so on it. Turns out I'm going to owe $900 this year. So I'm going to procrastinate and file these later now at the last possible second.
I think I might just keep this in the drafts because I think I just feel like I just need to talk. Myself for the situation I put myself in with this debt. And I know it could be a lot worse, and people definitely probably have more debt than I do, but right now it just feels impossible to get it down, and I'm currently having negative 13 cents in my bank account, and I need to get gas and couldn't even afford a thing of ramen at the store if I wanted to because can't even hold $1. Like, and I know there's nothing I can do about it right now because I can't fix it overnight, but it's really the only thing that's just been consuming my mind. And it's been a lot. It's just all I think about, and this is, I don't know, the wake-up call I need or whatever the heck you want to call it. But yeah, that's just where I'm at right now. It kind of sucks, and it's hard, and I hope that when I look back on this video, if I ever post it, which would be crazy if I did, that I could look back on it when I'm debt-free and whatnot. Currently on my lunch break in the bathroom just because all the open room spaces that we had were occupied, and I just couldn't stop crying at work because that's all I could think about. And it definitely feels impossible right now, but I know it's not. I'm down a lot today, and it's literally just noon right now. For 5 hours, I've cried probably 3 times. Because it's just a lot. But I know I'll get out of this. It just takes time, and I hate time and patience. So, yeah.
I owe my university $13,000 to get my diploma. So interact with this video and help me get to 10,000 followers so that I can start a creator fund. So I am a transfer student, meaning I did 2 years at a community college before transferring to a state university to complete my degree. I've taken out the max amount of student loans that are offered to me, and I'm a fully online student, so none of this has to do with like parking or dorms or food, anything. And I still owe $13,000 to get my physical diploma. I'm graduating in August. I'm about to start my final 3 6-week classes, and I'm so excited. But yeah, I apparently owe $13,000. I applied for the max amount of student aid. I think I took out like nearly $20,000 in loans. I just think it's crazy that in the United States, a bachelor's degree is unobtainable for so many people. It's actually insane. I am going to grad school as well, so a little stressed about that, but you know.
How are people doing this? I see people online going on these extravagant vacations and buying like expensive things, and I am into my career and have a good job, and instead of going to Europe like I wanted to this summer, I went to the desert and camped on BLM land because it's free with friends, and it was a great time. But like, how are people doing this? Are you just like in mad debt and I don't know about it? Like, what are people doing? Everything is so freaking expensive.
I truly believe that we romanticize buying homes, but really don't understand how much of a trap it can be. And this is not to say buying a home is a bad investment. I know there's probably going to be people that say, oh no, buying a home is a great investment, yada, yada, yada. Take this from a person who owns homes. Most people can't afford the home. They can just afford the payment. The idea of this American dream is usually tied to a debt trap, at least how people talk about it on social media. Most people don't consider the fact that you can be one layoff away from not being able to afford your home. Most people don't consider that even though you can afford your payment, there's expenses with homes that can almost put you in a crunch of living paycheck to paycheck. There's flooding and termites and well and septic issues and people that have to cut your grass and people that have to clean your house. There's a lot of other things that come with a home that people don't really consider, and they end up getting into this trap to where they're living paycheck to paycheck, and they depend on the job to be able to afford the home. And if they depend on the job to be able to afford the home, then at that point they have no flexibility to be able to use the money that they're earning to explore their interest or get closer to some of the things that they actually want to do in their life. If your money is tied up this home, it also limits your ability to invest in other things that are actually going to make you money. And if you're young, exploring, and don't even know really who you are yet, then buying a home that you can't afford isn't really the best decision. Now, I'm not against people buying homes. I'm just against people living above their means when they can't actually afford it, which is a situation that a lot of people get into just for the ego or just because it looks cool, which again is a trap for most people. So if you're young, you're driven, you're figuring it out, you don't the decision not to move forward with a $500,000 mortgage. And even though rent is going to a landlord, it still probably gives you the flexibility and figure your life out somewhere else, living with a friend, living with parents, whatever it may be. So don't think that buying a home is cool when it's trapped a significant amount of debt, because that's not cool ever.
I'm a single mom who's about to be in $120,000 in debt at least, and I'm so stressed out because I don't know what to do. I don't know how loans work because I never had loans. And I know once I get my job, like, I'll be financially stable or whatever, but interest is insane. Like, these PAs end up having over $250K in debt because all the interest that accrues. So I want to take out as little loans as possible. Like, do I just take out money out of my savings and put that towards PA school, and then hopefully, like, I don't need any emergency funds? And then also my school requires me to do the CPR and basic life support and advanced cardiovascular life support exams beforehand, which I have to pay for that too. And then I need to buy an iPad, and I need to pay for my white coat and all this other stuff. And it's just so stressful because I also want to take my daughter everywhere and do all these fun things, but I'm over here stressing. So yeah, if you have any fun side hustles that you do that you can bring your toddlers with, let me know.
And I'm not doing like Uber, DoorDash, because I don't think those are safe to bring my kids with. And I want to make money on TikTok, but I literally don't know how. So maybe if you have any tips on that, that would be greatly appreciated.
I had $18,000 in credit card debt and I had no idea how to get out of it. So let me walk you through some mindset and behavioral shifts I made to get out of it in 10 months. First thing I had to realize is that my money was not my money anymore. Any money that came into my bank account was not mine to spend. It was all the bank's money and it was all my bills' money. While you are in debt, your money is not your money. Your money is someone else's money. And once that really sank into my core, I was not happy spending money on anything for any reason. And I needed my money to be my money again. I was going to work and working for someone else. I was handing my paycheck straight to the bank, and I wanted that money to be my money, to spend as I wanted to spend differently than I had been spending, but to spend as I wanted to spend. And so after that, now we realize one does not really get into that debt unless they're looking at their finances every day. And I was never opening my bank statement, opening my credit card accounts. I had auto pay set up on the minimum, and that was all I cared about. And so I rearranged my phone screen. I put my bank and all my credit card apps on my phone, and I made it a habit to look at those accounts every single day. Even if the numbers didn't change at all. The numbers changed every time I got my paycheck, right? But I needed to be intensely familiar with how much money was in my checking account, where that money was going, how much was being charged to each credit card. I needed to know these things. And doing this every single day brought out a lot of feelings. I felt angry and frustrated and embarrassed and ashamed and guilty and irritated. I felt every feeling you could feel. And these negative feelings pushed me to have further discipline and to be even more hell-bent on paying off this debt. And sometimes, as humans, unfortunately, we just learn through experience. And I don't think I would be such an excellent steward of my finances at this point and just being like super strict with my money and knowing where every dollar was going if I hadn't gotten myself into that position in the first place. The next big thing I did was I cut up all my credit cards and I only used my debit card. And this is where I fully realized how easy it was for me to just swipe and move on with my day. Because now I'm looking at my debit card and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is going to come out of my checking account. Do I have this money? Do I feel comfortable taking this money? One, that isn't even mine, but two, taking this money out of my checking account and putting it towards this purchase. And I was really starting to think through every single purchase I made. And this is where I started setting up heavy boundaries with myself and with other people. So the boundaries with myself were, I have to put my discipline and my mission of paying off this debt before my emotions. And I know that there are people who will say you can have fun and pay off debt. You can have the coffee and pay off debt. You can do all these things, all these fun things, and live your life while paying off your debt. For me, that was not the vibe. I did not want to have fun while I was paying off debt. I wanted to get it over with as quickly as possible. And for some people, that might be too much and they need a little binge session of spending their money. For me, it was not like that at all. I needed every single dollar possible to go towards the debt. And I started getting real excited to set boundaries with people as well. And I had no problem saying no to friends and to family that wanted to do stuff. And I was just real candid. I was like, sorry, it's not in the budget. Sorry, I don't have money. Because it was true. And it wasn't forever that I was saying no to these things, right? Like, I knew it was temporary, but I needed to say no in the short term so that I can have those big gains in the long term of being credit card debt free. And the last piece of all this is that I was salaried when I was on this debt payoff journey. And I had never made more than $44,000 in my life. So that's where I was. And I knew I needed to bring in more money. Otherwise, this was going to take a lot longer than it needed to. And so after work, I was Instacarting a little bit. I was selling my stuff on Facebook Marketplace. I was doing surveys online. I was looking up class action lawsuits for items I had purchased. I was returning stuff if I could. I was offering to help people with little tasks. Like, I was doing anything I could to bring in more money. And honestly, I wasn't going to mention this, but it's the biggest part of the whole thing, is that I was able to transfer this debt to a 0% credit card. I was debating between taking out a personal loan or credit card, and I decided I would try the credit card first, and I got approved for it. And so I was able to move debt from 5 different credit cards, consolidate it all into one credit card, and pay it off that way. So that way it was interest free. I know a lot of people don't have the privilege of doing this. Usually when you're in so much credit card debt, it has probably tanked your credit score and you can't. And I know that the debt payoff journey would have taken much longer if I had not had the privilege of being able to transfer it to a 0% credit card. I get that. But I think whether it was going to take 10 months or 2 years, my mindset would have been the same, that this is not my money. I need to be out of this credit card debt so that I can finally have a clean slate of spending my money in the way I want to spend it.